Okay, parents and students, you're on this website link to see what is going to be on the test on December 9th and 10th. Remember, this is only the first part of the Math 6 Unit 2, Part A, B. There's still a whole nother part, C, D. So let me tell you what things students need to know on the test. It's a mixture of all of these things, changing decimals to simplified fractions, changing fractions to decimals, multiplying and dividing decimals, and also adding and subtracting decimals, word problems that will use all of these items, estimation, and the metric system. So for example, a metric system question could be, you have 500 grams of flour. How much is that going to be in milligrams? So something as simple as that, and the kids would have to go ahead and figure that out. That 500, okay, is milligrams, and we would need to move the decimal point over 3 places to the right. The little metric chart I told them to remember was King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. So that here is the basic unit, and so this is going to be grams. And we're going to move the decimal point over 1, 2, 3 places, which means in our number 500, the decimal point's right here, and we're going to move it over 1, 2, 3 places. So my answer is 500,000 milligrams is the same as grams. Okay. All right. Something else that they might see more of a word problem where they ask you and they'll say, okay, for one, uh, piece of chicken, you need 3 2/10 grams of salt. So about how much will they need? How much salt will they need? About for 200 pieces of chicken. Okay. Keyword there, this word about. That's estimation. Kids need to know when they see the word estimation, about, approximately. What's the approximate amount? That means they're going to round. Now, rounding and estimation is not the same definition. To estimate, we do use rounding. There are other ways you can estimate, but we taught the kids to use rounding to estimate. So this 3 2/10 would round to 3. And then I would say 3 times 200, which is 600, and that would be my answer. Okay? All right. Let's see. Some other things. So we talked about estimation and the metric system. A couple of word problems. For example, for I want to make pillows, and for one pillow you need 2.5 yards of fabric. Okay. And the fabric costs, let's see, $3.25 a yard. If I want to make how much fabric will I need? How much fabric will I need if I want 3 pillows. And then how much is the final cost? Okay, so the first thing students need to know how to do is take this number 2.5 and change it into a decimal, because we have not shown how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide with decimals. So this 2.5 is going to turn into 2 5/10. So one pillow, you need 2.5 or 2 5/10 yards of fabric. Okay, now I need 3 pillows. So kids have the option. They can add, they can multiply. I'm going to multiply 2.5 times 3. That's going to be 7. So we need 7.5 yards. Now from the 7.5, so that's how much fabric I need. 7.5 yards of fabric. Then I need to find out how much is that going to cost me. To find the cost, you do $3.25 times 7.5 yards. And then that's how much it's going to cost. Now the one thing students need to know, that when they do their answer, they might have to round to the nearest penny. So they need to know their place value, what number is in the hundredths place, and how to round. Okay. Students may also see questions like, let's see, it took me, I drove from Olney to, I don't know, Aspen Hill, and it took me, because there was so much traffic, it took me 125 minutes. I want you to tell me how much is 125 minutes in hours and minutes. So what students need to know, they need to know that 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. There are several ways they could do this. They could use division, addition, multiplication, or subtraction. Some of my students might say, okay, I'm going to start with 125 and I'm going to keep subtracting 60 till I can't do it anymore. So that's going to be 5. That's going to be 11. 6 is 5. Okay. And then we notice that, okay, so now we have, what am I trying to do here? Oh, I'm sorry, 12. 12 take away 6 is 65. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So let me do this again to make it clear. 125 minutes, and I want to take away 60 minutes. That's going to be 65. I can take another 60 minutes away. That leaves me with 5 minutes left over. So that's 2 hours, because I've got a 60-minute there and a 60-minute there. 2 hours and 5 minutes. That's one way you can do it. Or students can decide that they're going to use division. 125 divided by 60. How many times can 60 go into 125? 2 times. Subtract 5 left over. We don't add decimals with this, because anything left over are our leftover minutes. So again, we still get the answer 2 hours and 5 minutes. All right, that's something else. So all the things that we've taught from October are all integrated within this test. So please look for your kids. I've given them study packets. Use old worksheets that have already been graded to go over all the different types of problems that they're going to need to know. Something else about multiplying and dividing. If I give them a problem like this, they need to know when two numbers are sitting next to each other in separate parentheses. That's another way of writing a multiplication problem. 3 and 2/10 times 1 and 5/10. That's something they need to know. They need to know how to simplify fractions and know when a fraction is already simplified. So I hope this is helpful. I will have some lunch and lunch help and after school help. I will put something on Edline to let you know when the lunch and after school help is. Please don't forget that the test is not retakeable. It's on December 9th and 10th, just before we go to outdoor ed. I hope this has been helpful.